The World Rally Championship's summer break is coming to an end, and it's all about to get back underway at a classic round, the Acropolis. The Acropolis Rally is always an entertaining and unpredictable event, with its rocky stages providing a real challenge for the drivers. But working out a likely winner of the rally isn't going to be the biggest question lingering over the championship, as it heads to Greece. The real question is whether Sébastien Ogier will contest all of the remaining WRC rounds in pursuit of a 9th World Championship title. Ever since Ogier has gone part-time, there's always been questions during each season regarding whether Ogier should return full-time, such as his competitiveness. Whenever he turns up at a rally, he's always right in the hunt for victory, and has at times been leading the championship outright. Up until now, Ogier has held back the urge to complete a full season, eventually ruling himself out of title contention later in the year. But this time it's different. We're well over halfway through the WRC season now, just 4 rounds remain, and yet Ogier is only 27 points behind Hyundai's Thierry Neuville in the driver's standings. In the past, it's unlikely Ogier was overly worried about contesting a full season because his teammate Kalle Rovanperä was always on course to win the title. But this year there's a very real possibility that Toyota could lose both titles to its main rival. With Rovanperä competing part-time in 2024 and Elfyn Evans and Takamoto Katsuta having been unable to mount a sustained challenge against Neuville and Ott Tänak, it's likely that Ogier is now feeling the responsibility to help the Japanese manufacturer ensure it retains one, if not both, of the championships for another year. As it stands, Toyota is 20 points behind Hyundai in the manufacturer's standings. These are not insurmountable gaps to close, but it does mean that Toyota needs to be winning, and winning regularly. Rovanperä has made it clear since the end of last season that he will definitely not contest the majority of rounds in 2024. And with Ogier being so competitive on every event he's contested this year, it looks very much like he's going to be asked to stay on for the rest of the season to drag in a big haul of points. So far, Ogier has contested 6 rounds this year and has finished no lower than second on every event. He's won 3 of those, including his last outing at Finland, and so he knows that he really does have the edge over the Hyundai drivers going into the latter stages of the year. But seeing out the remainder of the year is unlikely to be because Ogier is attacking this from a selfish perspective. If it was solely about winning a 9th title, he'd have hung around last season when he was also in contention for the championship for a while. It's far more likely that he'd do it to play the team game, to help ensure Toyota beats Hyundai. And what's more, it's likely that request has come from Toyota, rather than Ogier really wanting to compete on all 4 of the remaining rounds. And from a competitive aspect, there's no reason why Ogier shouldn't fight for the championship. He clearly has what it takes to win rallies and fight at the very front consistently throughout the year. In reality, his talent has never been in question. It's been his motivation to compete. But now with the fact Toyota will be wanting him to stay for the rest of the season, and the chance of getting a record equalling 9th title being a real possibility, the two combined could be the catalyst that pushes him on to confirm his participation for the rest of the year. If Ogier did stay on for the rest of the year and did go on to beat Neuville to the championship, there would be a few ways people would look upon the 2024 season. The first would be the fact that Ogier would have pulled off quite the feat to beat the full-time Hyundai drivers. He is in essence the underdog considering he's contested fewer rounds in 2024. But therein lies a potential issue that people will see. What's the point of a championship if part-time drivers are able to go on and win the championship outright? Would it force other drivers to start considering part-time campaigns, knowing that championship victory is still plausible? And what would that then do for the popularity of the championship if a lot of the driver lineups are consistently changing at every round? In some ways, while it would be a great story for the WRC and for Ogier, it could also end up being detrimental to the championship as a whole. Hyundai's place in this would also need to be considered. It's already looking at other championships to compete in, and while it's likely to be staying around in WRC for the foreseeable, if it does end up losing this year's title to a driver that's failed to contest 3 rallies, would it force it into considering its participation in the championship altogether? These are all hypotheticals right now, and the latter point is probably the most unlikely aspect to actually happen. But there's no doubt that all of these thoughts will rise to the fore if Ogier does go on to win the championship. There is another way of looking at this altogether though. Regardless of what side of the fence you sit on, regardless of whether you think Ogier contesting the remaining rounds is a good thing or not, it will at least get people talking about the WRC. And given where the WRC's popularity level is right now, that can only be a good thing.